going to check out CoffeeZilla's measured response, I guess. Just because I enjoy CoffeeZilla's work, I enjoy his like scams and things like that. So yeah. Let's see what's going on with those files. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said the name. That's not allowed. But oh well. Let's see what's going on with those creepy files.
The FBI just dropped 3.5 million files.
Whoa, that's pretty quick. He's a fast talker.
And it is incredible. Huge bombshells about some of the most powerful people on the planet. I can't believe they let some of this stuff out. I mean, it is stunning. Honestly, one of the biggest lies we've seen is the idea that the FBI could possibly come to us and say, not only is there not a client list, there was no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals. Guys, we're about to see planned blackmail.
This is the thing. This should have been released a year ago. All this stuff should have come out. There shouldn't have been. The problem is now there's going to be so much, people are like, well, there's not as much information on this person as there is clearly on this person who is disliked by this government right now. And then people are going to be like, well, it's not entirely accurate. Yeah, the Bill Gates thing was funny. Where he's whining about giving his wife STDs or whatever it was and begging for something. Yeah, that's actually funny. It was just, it's so disgusting, though. Absolutely disgusting.
To one of the most powerful people on the planet, and that is Bill Gates. Listen, there's a lot we're going to get to, but we have to start with probably the craziest revelation here, which is Jeffrey Epstein emailing himself about Bill Gates. Now, if you don't know, Bill Gates and Epstein had a relationship post-2008. That's a big year. You're going to hear a lot today, because 2008 was the time that Epstein pled guilty for soliciting of somebody under the age of 18. He was a predator at this point. Everybody knew it. Now, eventually, Bill Gates would get divorced when all of this came out. Melinda Gates said it was part of the direct cause for the divorce. She said she met Epstein and said he was evil.
He was evil personified.
So you have to understand, this is like Bill Gates' kryptonite. He's one of the richest men on the planet. He's got this huge philanthropy arm. But this relationship with Epstein has been a...
You gotta distrust those people who constantly have these massive, oh, I donate to this, I donate to this, I donate to this, and look at them closely, because a lot of the time, they're most likely going to be doing it as a way of recompense for their own actions to feel less guilty about things, or as a shield to divert. It was like, oh, he possibly can't be such a heinous person. He does all this kind of stuff. People do that kind of stuff. They really do, which is actually sad. They really do those kinds of things to kind of shield them from their own actions.
A huge problem for him. And Epstein appears to have known that, because in 2013, Bill Gates appears to be distancing himself from Jeffrey Epstein, and Epstein seems to have a problem with that. He says, I assume the dedication to our relation went both ways. Larry has now asked me to recommit to a confidentiality agreement. Basically, he's got to shut up about his relationship with Bill Gates. And this is where the blackmail starts, and it comes in the form of like, if I were you, I would do X if I were the type of guy that you should be. He says, in that regard, I suggest I buy you the house that you had your heart set on. In addition to 5 years of severance, we'll buy you out of the investment contract we agreed upon, 30 to 40% of an $100 million partnership for $30 million in today's terms. That's what I would have done had I been in your shoes. Then he lays out what he has on Bill Gates, or what he says he has. Quote, to add insult to injury, you subsequently, with tears in your eyes, implore me to delete the emails I had regarding your STD. Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you could surreptitiously give to Melinda. And
yeah, and sneakily, oh my gosh, what the heck? I'm getting too comfortable. Sneakily just wanting to drug his own wife. Absolutely. The whole thing is absolutely disgusting. The fact that so many files are dropped, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to be YouTubers who build their careers on just going through those files. Just going through those files, following down social media, sites, not sites, but like, you know, the social media paths, looking at the dates of when the emails were sent, looking at the dates and posts of when people were posting certain things online or saying certain things online. There's going to be a huge market for that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you really think other billionaires never do such things? Yeah, other billionaires, of course. Of course, because the thing is, when you feel untouchable, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting that you feel you want to do the thing that's absolutely abhorrent. Absolutely. Because you feel like nothing will ever happen to you. You want to do what is considered the most heinous thing because you'll get away with it. You'll get away with it. It's like an absolute show of power. Like children are like the most protected, and you want to feel the most powerful in the world. Well, you harm the most protected people and get away with it. I mean, it sounds disgusting, but it absolutely is how some people think because they want to feel absolutely powerful. They want to feel as if they are absolutely invincible. Watch it, you little one. Teething.
The description of your I mean, this is insane. It's completely insane. It's like basically laying out in text form, I would give me millions of dollars, and I can't believe you're asking me to delete the message where you were going to give STD medication to your wife without her knowledge. I mean, it's complete. It's crazy. It's just completely obvious what he's doing here. It's just a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Here's what you should do. But now that coming out after Epstein's death, this looks really bad for Gates, obviously, because you usually wouldn't blackmail somebody for something that's completely false or fake. I mean, maybe he did that. But we also know Bill Gates had affairs. Obviously, Melinda credits it for their divorce. So it's hard to believe there was nothing sketchy going on. Bill Gates, of course, maintains that it was completely above board. He says the fact this allegation was in here just shows how much Epstein was willing to defame people. But Epstein lays it out. He says he helped Bill get drugs in order to deal with the consequences of sex with Russian girls, facilitating his illicit trysts with married women, and to being asked to provide Adderall for bridge tournaments. Look, guys, this is exactly what we suspected the whole time. Epstein was providing services to rich people and expecting payment via blackmail. Now you might say, and it's true, that we don't know that Epstein ultimately sent that version of an email to Gates. All we know is he sent that to himself. He may have planned the blackmail and just...
Yeah, and no matter what, it's already going to be bad, and especially when you have a history with someone who has done many, many, many heinous things throughout his time, cheated on his spouse. Like, already, you cheat on your spouse, you're already a terrible human being, but then you add, having a friendship with one of the most heinous predators ever convicted and basically allegedly ended his own life in prison. And then you more and more and more information. The problem is, after you've done all that, any more lies that are added onto it, everyone will believe because you're already a terrible human being. But the thing, because it's absolutely, all this stuff is absolutely believable. I honestly believe most of it's absolutely true. He's just trying to continuously make sure the people know exactly who he is, who Bill Gates truly was. He wanted the blackmail material. He wanted the ability to constantly censor them.
Just been drafting something. But what we do know are two things. The Wall Street Journal has reported that Gates...
Dude, Trump has done 100 times worse. What even this, how did what? I can't even read that because it's not even popping up in my main chat. Honestly, I have no clue. That's the thing. It's like no matter what, people aren't going to believe the evidence that comes out because it wasn't all sent out at once. Everyone's going to say, oh, well, the stuff from this politician is absolutely being censored. And now everyone can absolutely agree with that. Absolutely agree that people believe that it's absolutely being censored because not everything came out immediately and it's slowly trickling out.
Was threatened by Epstein over an affair. We also know that after this blackmail email Jeffrey sent to himself was written, eventually Gates sent a $2 million donation to MIT directed by Jeffrey Epstein, which is a bit weird if you had distanced yourself from the guy and y'all had this big falling out. Now again, do we know for sure that Bill Gates did all of that? No, of course we don't. But do I think Bill Gates was innocently looking for charity advice from a after he already pled guilty? No, I don't. I'm sorry. I'm not that gullible. And speaking of not that gullible, we've been lied to also by another richest guy on the planet. Geez, it's a shock why they don't want to put this out. Elon Musk, who has been saying...
Yep, he had said he had no connections. I remember someone said something to him about it, and he lashed out, like got incredibly pissed. Incredibly pissed. And then... guess what? There comes out some evidence.
4 years that it is a lie that he went to Epstein's island. In fact, he says he refused to go. From Elon, he says, Epstein tried to get me to go to his island. I refused. He says, anyone pushing this false narrative deserves complete contempt. Later responding to another headline, which said Elon Musk planned trip to Epstein's private island. And he says, this is false. But of course, we start to dig through the files, and we can see on Epstein's calendar that Elon Musk is booked in December 6th of 2014. But maybe you don't believe that. That's just the word of Jeffrey Epstein. But maybe you'll believe the word of Elon Musk, who was caught emailing Jeffrey Epstein to go to his island post the guilty plea. Elon Musk writes, "Will be in BVI St. Bart's area over the holidays. Good time to visit." Jeffrey Epstein says, "I will send a heli for you." Later, Elon Musk writes to Epstein, probably just to Lula and me, his ex-wife, what day and night would be the wildest party on your island? The world's richest man is asking the most pedophile man for the wildest party on his island.
Gee, I wonder what the party could possibly be. Oh my gosh, I wonder what the party could possibly be.
And then it gets more explicit. In 2012, remember, this is the guy who said, I refused it, I could never do that, right? It's false. But here in 2012, he says, do you have any parties planned? I've been working to the edge of my sanity this year. I really want to hit the party scene in St. Bart's or elsewhere and let loose. The invitation is much appreciated, but a peaceful island experience is the opposite of what I'm looking for. Guys, he can't even play the I went to go study math excuse, which is what all these guys.
He wanted the party. He wanted the party. He didn't want a nice retreat. We thought Elon was Tony Stark. Looks like he was Norman Osborn. Yeah, basically, a creep to the max. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, again, all these people who do philanthropy, all these people who try to aid and assist, like that's the thing. I think it's a great thing that he was giving internet, to, like in Iran and Ukraine, people where their internet was shut down. They're given a voice so they can actually speak to the world and let them know what's being done. That's a great thing. The problem is this stuff starts coming out and it's like, okay, maybe it was all just a diversion tactic. Maybe it's all he's feeling guilty for his actions in the past. Maybe he just felt like he was, it's the whole thing is just insane.
Guys do. They say, hey, I just went to go talk to scientists. Elon's like, hey, I don't want to do that. I'm looking for a party. That's what I'm here to do. And then Jeffrey Epstein writes, understood, I will see you on St. Barth. The ratio on my island might make your ex-wife uncomfortable. I can't believe these guys are lying to us and people are swallowing it still, thinking that Elon Musk had nothing to do with this guy. So again, that's 2012. That's 2014. But guess what? There's another time in 2013. I mean, this seems like a yearly thing with the boys. Here, once again, Elon Musk writes, we'll be in the BVI St. Bart's area over the holidays. Again, is there a good time to visit? Jeffrey Epstein, any day, 1st to the 8th. Play it by ear if you want. Always space for you. They then plan some more, and you might think, well, if Elon ever told the truth, this is when he has to reject, right? Because he said, I refused. But actually, it appears to be one of those cases where, like, your friend says, like, oh, bro, I dumped her. And actually, it was the other way. Yeah, it turns out Elon didn't dump the the dumped Elon. It says, bad news. Unfortunately, my schedule will keep me in New York. Hopefully, we can schedule another time in the future. Jeffrey Epstein let Elon down. That's actually the real story. Is the reason he didn't go in 2013 was because he couldn't go. Jeffrey Epstein was not there. Guys, I mean, how blatant do they have to make it before we start to just see through it, right? When they issue these ridiculous denials, they're totally associated with the guy after the guilty plea. They lie through their teeth, but they can't even keep their story straight. I mean, that's what's crazy. They're not even competent at this. They get caught in their own lies all the time. Remember, the FBI's official story was they didn't blackmail. Well, before we even had these files, Howard Lutnick was on the record calling Jeffrey Epstein the greatest blackmailer ever.
So how come Bill Gates and all these other people could hang around him and not see what you saw? Or did they see it and ignore it? Or
No, they participated.
right.
That's what his MO was, you know, get a massage, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever.
Interesting. Okay, so Howard has a different...
I'm pretty sure a lot of it is blackmail. The thing is, eventually you get to the point where it's like you can become friends with your blackmailer and then just live the good life as long as you appease him and it's just everything's good and good, all hunky-dory. The blackmail doesn't come out until you go against him. The problem is now, after you've been buddy, like someone who cozies up to the town bully, the school bully, and basically wants to be friends with him so he's not harassed and just helps harass others. I can honestly see both situations being true, where he got blackmail on the first nerd, the nerd cozied up to him and became his best friend until finally he was able to get more blackmail on more people, and then it just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. The whole thing is absolutely disgusting. I mean, this kind of stuff has happened forever. People in power are easily wanting to vent and want to do something that seems like touch the untouchable, as it were. Do the unthinkable, because like that's why they're idiotic enough to go like sky jumping or whatever, because they need the thrill, and eventually not enough is to thrill them. Like for me, every month I get that thrill. I have to pay my bills. I have to pay that, like everything. It's all a stressor. It's all an absolute stressor. So it's just like, am I gonna have enough money for next month? That kind of thing. So I have to deal with that, what they deal with, but I deal with it every single month. For them, they need to seek it out because they have all the comforts in the world that they need the stressor. Is someone gonna find out that I did this kind of thing? The problem is now everyone's knowing. Will anyone be held account? I don't know. I absolutely don't know. These people are too freaking powerful. And the problem is those with money tend to be never really charged the same, especially those that have a history or are well known, never are charged the same. There's a reason why like actors and singers and things like people like that tend to not get the same kind of harsh punishment as, well, if I did something. Because their name carries more weight. They are more important than I am. So the whole thing is sort of a class discrimination. But at the same time, it's like we need to see justice finally done. This world is becoming too small to allow these kinds of things to continue to happen and nothing to happen. Like politicians need to be put behind bars for the rest of their lives. They should die in prison or be put to death for the amount of treason they have done against their own people or the acts they have committed while in power, making friends with people who are absolute evil. The people need to be held account for their actions. The way we're rounding up people who came to the nation illegally, we need to round up people who have violated laws, who have absolutely destroyed like the mindset of kids, who have done such abhorrent, heinous, criminal acts, some of the worst things known to mankind. They need to be put behind bars. They need to be completely ruined. Will they? Time will tell. Time will tell. But that's just how I feel. Everyone should be held account to their actions. They should be. Just like if I commit a crime, I should have to pay the punishment for the crime. I should. Former CM of my state has killed a guy in a car accident, but he was not sent to jail and is roaming free. Yeah, exactly. That happens all the time. All the time where they get away with that. Like the Caitlyn Jenner, who ran over like 7 people, but because he was going through a sex change at the time to become a woman, nothing happened. Nothing happened. It still feels unreal that this can happen in the USA. Well, the US has basically been like this for years. The problem is, before technology made the world so small, it was easier to get away with stuff. Or someone would find something out and you can silence them. I mean, if you actually look at like the Clintons' friends that have died due to like wrapping themselves around their car wraps itself around a tree, or committing like some kind of they delete themselves, that kind of stuff. They have a ton of friends that have done a ton of things to themselves over the years. The problem is, as the world gets smaller, it becomes harder to try and do those sort of acts. Really hard. Too many people to pay off, too many footages, too many cameras that they have to find and delete, too many.
For perspective, now, if you don't know, that guy Do you think he's just telling the truth there? Even this guy who's contradicting the official narrative, this guy literally lived next to Jeffrey Epstein. This guy was like, I'm going to tell the truth. Those guys participated. That guy lived next to Jeffrey Epstein. And by the way, he lied too. I love this video we're about to get into because this guy, Mr. He's the greatest blackmailer ever, does he know something we don't know? Because it's interesting, Mr. I'm his neighbor had to also explain how he had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. And he lays it out pretty simply. He goes, yep.
Nixon went to Bohemian Groves as well. Yeah, a lot of politicians, especially like presidents of the U.S., they would go to these places, and then the next thing you know, they're kowtowing and following in line with what is expected of them. Like there is a information, like a recorded file where Bush, President George W. Bush, the younger one, who went to the gardens, and eventually he went in and then was a completely different person afterwards. He was basically talking about how he had no power as a president. He could do absolutely nothing because in the end, he had to listen to these people. The whole thing is disgusting.
I lived next to him, but in 2005, I had such a horrible experience that I knew I could never talk to him again.
He was your neighbor for 10 years. How well did you know him?
We move in 2005. Okay, Jeffrey Epstein is arrested in like 08, I think, or something like that.
Right.
So knock on the door. His assistant on like a Saturday says, Mr. Epstein, your neighbor would like to invite you over for coffee. And there's a massage table in the middle of the room. Massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he like gets like weirdly close to me. And he says, and the right kind of massage. Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry, we have to go. And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
Well, he couldn't be more clear, could he, right? He says, hey, I may have been his next door neighbor.
Yeah, Bohemian Groves and Alex Jones. Yep. That's where you get the documents. That's where you get the information. Yeah, Alex Jones, a crazy conspiracy theorist. But the thing is, just like the island, a lot of it, people knew this kind of stuff was actually going on. People have known this stuff was actually going on. It's just nobody had like the cold, hard evidence. And then we got Epstein, we got the files, and then it was just being sat on for years, for absolute years. Yeah, and like a lot of politicians throughout the world will be getting, are on the files. Will they get in trouble? Let's be honest, no, they won't get in trouble. Of course, people will see them in a negative light, but that's probably it. They won't get in trouble. They have enough money to stay out of like prison, to stay out of like any real consequences. They're most likely going to be like, oh, well, I'm a trillionaire, so I'm going to donate $900 billion to this charity. Of course, that leaves me with $100 billion to live on, but I gave away 90% of my trillions. 90%. It's just like those people who are so filthy rich that they could get rid of the majority of honestly, they could get rid of everything and they'd still live life in luxury because no matter what, they'll constantly be recouping more.
But I met him once before the 2008 guilty plea. Remember I said that was a big deal? And we got invited over, and it was like 5 seconds, and we left, and we realized he was a creep. We were out of there. He made this rude, lewd comment in front of my wife. I would never go see this guy. I mean, he makes it super clear he's gross.
So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
These other guys, they may have participated.
They participated.
But Howard Lutnick, he could never. No. He's too good of a guy. Well, guess what we found in the old emails? Looky. It's Howard Lutnick, riding in to Jeffy Boy in 2012. Hi, Jeff. We're landing in St. Thomas early afternoon, planning to head over. Where are you located? What's the exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? Is this the guy you said made a lewd comment to your wife and, oh, I could never be in front of him. He's gross. Guess what the next email is? My boy's wife messaging in, saying we're headed towards you in St. Thomas. Later, the subject line, Jeffrey Epstein. Good morning, Howard. Jeffrey wished me to pass you along. Nice seeing you. They clearly met, and the guy is just lying about it to your face, to the American public's face, and they tried to hide it from us. I cannot emphasize this enough. They're lying through their teeth. You think this guy perfectly remembers a 2005, walking?
He lied to his wife as well. No, it seemed like his wife was in on it as well because they were doing a couples thing. Like that's the weird thing. It's like Bill Clinton went to the island. Well, so did Hillary Clinton. A lot of these people, it was the husband and wife that were involved in it. I don't know. Maybe there were some young boys there too. I have no clue. The whole thing is absolutely disgusting. But in the end, I mean, it was a whole kind of what is one of the Illuminati type nonsensical crazy conspiracy theory over the line kind of nonsense, which a lot of conspiracy theories, let's be honest, end up turning out to be true, but it's like so in the family type thing. It was insane.
In the guy's house, I remember exactly what I said to him. My wife and I looked at each other, and he wouldn't remember the 2012. I boated over to his private island for a dinner. Is that what we're really thinking? Is that what we're expected to believe? This is a momentary lapse in his judgment. No, these guys don't even care about being consistent, and they're all throwing each other under the bus. Don't you remember Elon Musk saying, the time to drop the really big bomb, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they haven't been made public. My guy, you also are in the Epstein files, very clearly doing stuff you lied about, okay? So is Howard.
Yeah, especially the fact that he's asking for parties. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of collateral damage that comes from it, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people wanted to cozy up to Epstein because he's like the mover and shaker who knows all these people. They get to know him to make connections. And then guess what? Epstein ends up in prison being known as this savage monster. And then everyone who wanted to get cozy with him realizes why he was cozy with everyone. He basically had all the information, and they're going to get caught in the crosshairs. The odds of that actually being the case is very slim, but it is possible that some people will get called in.
Howard Lutnick, who says, yeah, Bill Gates, he's probably getting blackmailed because he participated. What did you do on the island over in 2012, Howard? Do we know that? I mean, does anyone care? Now, the last thing I want to talk about is some of the most explosive stuff. It's also, again, I have to say, unverified, okay? This is the NTOC, the FBI's National Threat Operations Center. And the challenge with confirming some of this is that these are anonymous tips, or they black them out at least, so we don't know who they are, and anyone can drop a tip. Now, that doesn't mean that you should disregard them. It just means we can't verify them. The other challenge is that the FBI has a heavy incentive to discredit anything with Donald Trump in it, just because he's in the White House right now, obviously.
Yeah, in like 3 years, that might change. That might change. They might be like, well, we're holding on to this palette of information. We're going to release that.
And
So
I wanna
again,
be
it's
clear,
all hit or miss.
There are notes related to some of these submissions where they say things like complainant was spoken to and deemed not credible. Additional research showed 3 separate redacted. You know, it's hard to tell how much this is the proper due diligence of the FBI, which they should be doing, of course, and not all complaints are credible. But also there's this obvious conflict of interest with the fact that the sitting president is in some of these complaints. But here they are for what it's worth. Complaint summary. Blank reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis that she was approximately 13 to 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump while performing. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting President Trump. The friend also said she was abused by Epstein. Later, there's very explosive claims about big parties with her, other younger girls, and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. There's claims third hand about a female victim of Epstein's who wants to publish a book citing Leslie Wexner, Epstein, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell is in the videos as well. And it goes on like this for a while. Some of the complaints are just like very graphic, and obviously I'm gonna censor out some of it. But I should also mention the DOJ claims that some of these claims were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had any shred of credibility, they would have certainly been weaponized against President Trump already. Now, I agree that if a complaint is timed right before an election, there definitely could be some other
But the investigation still needs to go through. They still need to do their due diligence and investigate.
motivations to that. But it's also ridiculous to say that anything in the Epstein files, if it were true, would have come out already. Because why didn't we see the stuff about Bill Gates, for example? I mean, that stuff apparently has been sitting in here for a long time. And not only did no one talk about it, the FBI literally covered for it. I mean, they said that this was not the case. There are big claims against a lot of
I mean, a lot of it, I'm pretty sure, is they needed to do their own internal investigation to find out what is, because you don't want to have people targeting someone, but that is clearly bad. But like the email was written by Epstein to Epstein about Bill Gates, so there's no real evidence about Bill Gates. So I'm pretty sure they had to do their research first before they could release it. But again, they should have just released everything outright. They should have just released everything outright. People would get harassed for something they never did, but of course, the court of public opinion is probably the worst. People have ruined their entire careers due to the court of public opinion. But at the same time, it'd be better and more transparent to the people to literally just have everything come forward.
powerful people. Nobody in that file really wants to rock the boat or release the files, because then they get in trouble and their buddies get in trouble, and that's a huge problem. So I don't really buy the idea that, oh, if it were true, it would have already gotten out. I don't buy that. That's why we need transparency. That's why it's important these files are out. But this is just a look at a small fraction of the files. And over the next few weeks, we're going to go through all of the major findings we can from this 3.5 million page document dump. But seriously, think about
Yeah, the main issue was like pretending the files didn't exist. I think what should have happened, it was like a statement should have gone out by the FBI director saying we've started to go through the files. We are going to slowly start to release them as we have found there is enough credibility to back the claims if there are people who are not completely credible as accomplices or whatever, or we don't have, we will hold on to those documents and release them as we have get more information. That most people would have been absolutely okay with. The problem that it became, Trump was like, I'm going to release the files. And then he's like, why is everyone worrying about the files? It's this big hoax. There are no files. And then people who were talking about files being sitting on their desk, massive boxes of files. There are no files anymore. And then everyone becomes a liar. No one believes anything that comes out. And now everyone's going to be taking everything that comes out with a grain of salt because we had a batch upload of files before, and now we're getting more.
how discrediting this has been, not only to this administration, but to so many rich and powerful people who have lied through their teeth happily towards you in order to hide their relationship with this man that many of them held post-guilty plea. And some of them, now we know, Epstein prepared blackmail for them and, according to reports, threatened.
Oof, gosh, dang. Oh, that's a heavy load. That's a heavy amount of just information to get through. The thing is this has been going on let's just be honest, probably since the founding of America, this stuff has been going on. There's always been some kind of location or some kind of farm or some kind of island where the people of power could go and meet and then stay in power, basically. Get those who are brand new into the landscape and get advantage of them, make them be a part of the group. But if they venture away from the group, they have the information to basically point at them and be like, oh, this person's a terrible human being. We have X, Y, Z information on this person. Go after them. Because they'd have the information, they'd have that. Yes, it's a form of blackmail, but it's also a form of wanting to buddy up with the most powerful people and grow as just in general.
You guys got a video?
forget to like and subscribe.
Why is that?